I've built a collection of hobby tools that I love and use every single day. With these tools, I build and paint miniatures way quicker than I did when I started in the hobby. However, there's a huge selection of tools out there, so it's difficult to know which ones to buy. As a result, it means I wasted a lot of money and also have a lot of junk lying around. It also meant I couldn't afford the tools which actually would have mattered at the start. So these are the three biggest challenges I had when I was getting into the hobby and the tools that helped me with those. The first challenge that I had is I wanted to paint small details on a model, but my eyes aren't what they used to be anymore. So I went ahead and bought a bunch of magnifying lenses, from ones that you snap on top of your glasses through to ones that you put on your head and flip down. This didn't really make things any clearer for me, it just seemed everything in. I also went ahead and bought 2 additional lamps, but found regular bulbs are far too warm and make your colours look really weird. What I actually needed to see small details was a task lamp. One that was wide enough that I didn't need 2 of them, one that could reach over 4,500 Kelvin so I could see accurate colours, and one that's adjustable so I can move it around to my desk easily. With this I've been able to get to details that I couldn't even see before. I haven't had to wear any of the magnifying lenses I bought, as the light alone is enough to see all the detail. For me, it's been an absolute game changer. The second challenge I had with the hobby was getting smooth coats of paint onto the miniatures. I'd thinned the paints down to a really nice consistency to work with, but I'm slow at painting and I also have minor hand tremors, so it takes me a minute to steady my hand and line everything up. I bought artist palettes, I bought ceramic tiles, I even bought the Games Workshop painting pad, but for me, none of it really worked. With paints drying in about 15 minutes, it meant that I was getting about 1 good base coat onto the model before everything was drying out. I'd heard of wet palettes, but they seemed really advanced to me at the time. I'd heard that metallic paints could spread through the parchment paper onto the sponges underneath, which meant as a result your regular paints would end up having like a glitter effect in them, I guess. Anyway, for me, wet palettes have helped so much. It was exactly what I needed because I could thin the paints down to the consistency I liked and the paints would stay wet for so many hours. I've also used metallic paints in almost every session and it doesn't seep through the parchment paper to the sponge, so it's perfect for me. You can make your own wet palettes and a lot of people do that, but for me, it's a small investment and one that I'd definitely make again. My third challenge when getting into the hobby was priming models as well as getting smooth base coats down. Rattle cans are the go-to solution for priming models, but they do give off harmful vapors, so you need to spray them outside. I also live in the north of the UK where it typically rains for 140 days of the year. It can also get really cold outside as well. That resulted in me just not enjoying using rattle cans even when I could go outside to use them. As for base coating, people usually use a paintbrush to get that done. However, for me, it took me hours to get the base coats done and it just meant I didn't enjoy doing it. There's one tool that solves both of these problems, and that's an airbrush. The reason I decided to invest in an airbrush is it meant I could prime my models all year round, as well as get base coats down on my models really fast. Base coats are now so easy that I often do 20 models in one go, and it takes me under an hour to get that done. Owning an airbrush also gives me a lot of room to grow as well. It means I can do things like get smooth gradients down, as well as zenithal highlights. My airbrush is now by far the favorite tool that I own. It's made part of the painting process that I just didn't enjoy really fun. You don't need any of these tools to get started in the hobby, so don't let that discourage you. However, if you do have some money to invest, I think you'll get a lot of enjoyment out of these 3 tools. If you'd like a more high-level introduction to the hobby, check out this video where I cover what Warhammer is. Thank you for watching, it means a huge amount. Please do subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the next one.